All right, so this video I'm going to discuss how I go about doing line work. It's a little different in this software, but this will show you how to create line work in both the Topcon Magnet software and also output it in a format that it will still draw the line work in Carlson. So what I'm showing here is an as-built that I did a while back. I'm really pretty proud of the way the line work's turned out in this one. I think it looks pretty clean. My ultimate goal when I do these, I like them to basically look like a CAD drawing. So I'm not going to go into this. I'm going to just show you how to do it through editing the points. It's the same concept basically as when you're storing points. So for example, this is an EP code. All right, so I'll show you. All right, so your code, this is set up a lot differently. Let me hit the code button here and show you. All right, so when you go into edit, when you go into store a point in the Topcon software, it's got several different fields that you have to enter. So you're used to Carlson basically allows you just to type in the code the way you see it, but in this you have to type in the first selection box here. That's your actual code list. That's what we use. So technically, you know, EP is the string code. It's a line where it's for the line. So whereas in this, you have to type in, you know, you have to give it first your line code, then you have to give it what's called a string value, which we're just used to typing in a number. Carlson just automatically recognizes the number. And then you've got these boxes for control code, which you come down, and they're a little different, but you can edit them. I just have never edited mine, but like arc end, that's the same thing as PT. Arc start's the same thing as PC. Close is the same thing as space minus, or I'm sorry, space pound. E is the end, that's the same thing as space minus. It still uses some other ones like rectangle, stuff like that is in there. So, but anyway, so that's the way that you have to type it in. And then you can see down here in my note is the Carlson code itself. And the reason that we have to do that, and I'll show here in a second, is when it exports out when you export out your text file, it exports each one of those as a separate column. So where I just showed you, like where it shows EP, and then it shows the string value, and then it can show that control code. Like in Carlson, if this was the start of a curve, we would type in like EP3 space PC. And then when you export that out into an ASCII file, it's going to show that because you've got 5 columns in an ASCII file. You've got your point number, your northing, your easting, your elevation, and your description. And unfortunately, in the Topcon software, it wants to export each one of those out as its own field. So you would have northing, you know, you'd have point number, northing, easting, elevation. Then you would have your code as one column. Then you would have your line number as another column, and then you would have your control value, which would be like, you know, your PC or your PT is another column. So when they export that out and then they go to try to read it, it's not going to read. It's not going to import in. It's not going to look right. And I've got kind of a description, or I've got a example of that. I did some. Let's see here. Let me exit out of this. So the one that I've got right here, that is our normal. That's just that's normal. That's the way it looks when you type. You know, that's what it would normally look like. That's the way that it looks when I export it out into notes. That's what they want. This is what it would look like if you just exported it out the way that Carlson writes it. You see, it's got like all of those different values. They can't read that in the Carlson software. So that's the reason, which is an extra step, but I'm sorry. But that's the reason that we have to do it that way. So again, go through a couple of these. So, and you can see how it's got, you know, the code in the parentheses like that, and that's just how that it reads it. But again, so that's the reason for the note. It's an extra step, but in the end, it works, and that's kind of what we have to do for now. So that's about it for the line work.